Hey Math Aces, and welcome to Mr. Ace Math. In this lesson, you're going to learn everything you need to know about how to convert mixed numbers into improper fractions. Let's start with a lesson breakdown. And just so you know, this lesson breakdown is also in your description, but with timestamps next to each part of the video. Feel free to use those timestamps to go to any part of the video that you need most. So first, we're going to go over the relationship between whole numbers and improper fractions using a model. This goes over why it makes sense to convert from mixed numbers into improper fractions. If you want to go straight into how to convert from mixed numbers to improper fractions, I recommend starting with example 1, 2, and 3, because these examples go over step by step how to go from mixed numbers to improper fractions. After those 3 examples, we'll have the pause and practice, where you'll get to try 6 questions of your own to see if you've mastered this skill. After the pause and practice, the answers will be revealed, followed by the reflection, which is a brief review of everything we've learned from this lesson. But in order to do well in this lesson, you're going to need to make sure you have the following skills. First, you'll need to make sure you're comfortable with mixed numbers. Basically what they look like, where you have a whole number and a fraction put together. You'll also need to make sure you're comfortable with fractions as well as improper fractions, more specifically the parts, the top being the numerator and the bottom being the denominator. You'll also need to make sure that you're comfortable with multiplication and addition. So make sure you know those, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is start with a model, where we're looking at this model as a mixed number, but then we're taking the same exact model and showing it as an improper fraction. The reason why we can do that is because both mixed numbers and improper fractions do the same exact thing. They both represent values that are more than one whole. Mixed numbers do that using a whole number and a fraction, and improper fractions do it with just a fraction. In fact, the reason why it's called improper is because the top of the fraction is going to be bigger than the bottom of the fraction. With that being said, let's represent this using mixed numbers. Well, this first circle has 1, 2, 3, 4 total pieces. And out of the 4 total pieces, all 4 of them are shaded. As a fraction, we would represent that as 4 out of 4. But since we're using mixed numbers, since it's just one whole, we can represent it using the whole number 1. And for the fraction part, this part of the model here has 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, and out of 4, only 1 is shaded yellow. So the fraction to show that would be 1/4. So we have 1 whole and 1/4. So to represent it as a mixed number, we would add those 2 things together. And it's actually a lot easier than it sounds. Because for a whole number and a fraction, we would just put them together. Now let's take a look at the model for improper fractions. So the first circle in the model here has 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. And of the 4, all 4 are shaded. But remember, improper fractions only use fractions. So we'll write this as 4/4. And the second circle in this model, out of 1, 2, 3, 4 parts, only 1 is shaded. So we would represent this part of the model as 1/4. Now to find the improper fraction, all we would do is add those 2 fractions together. But I want to make sure that we focus on the model. Let's take all of these fourths and break them up. How many fourths do you see? Well, there's 1/4, 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, and 5/4. So to represent this model using improper fractions, we would write 5/4. And remember, nothing has changed. The model still has all the same stuff, whether we're talking about the mixed number side or the improper fraction side. That's because, like I said before, they do the exact same thing. And now that we've gone over the model, let's dive into how exactly to convert from mixed numbers to improper fractions step by step. So let's say we start off with the mixed number 5 and 2/3. Well, there are 3 steps to convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction. Step 1 is to multiply the whole number and the denominator. Well, in this mixed number, the whole number is 5, and the denominator is 3. So we're going to multiply 5 and 3. When we do that, the result of 5 times 3 is 15. That brings us to step 2, which is to add the result and the numerator. The result is 15 and the numerator is 2. So we're going to add those values together. And what's 15 plus 2? Well, that equals 17. And finally, step 3 is to keep the denominator the same. The denominator is 3, so we'll just keep the 3 here, making our final answer 17/3. And I want to make sure I say it again. The whole point is to convert from the mixed number to the improper fraction. So we would say that 5 and 2/3 is equivalent to 17/3. Let's look at our next example. Here we've got 4 and 2/5. Step 1 is to multiply the whole number and the denominator. The whole number is 4, and the denominator is 5. So we'll multiply those values. And when we multiply 5 times 4, that gives us 20. And we'll put the result right on top here. That brings us to step 2, which is to add the result and the numerator. Our result was 20, and our numerator is 2. So we'll add 20 plus 2, and that equals 22. And finally, we'll keep the denominator exactly the same. Remember that the denominator is 5. So we'll put that right under here. And that gives us our final answer. And again, we could say that the mixed number 4 and 2/5 is equal to the improper fraction 22/5. So here's our last example. Here we've got 8 and 5/6. Let's just follow our steps. Step 1 is to multiply the whole number and the denominator. The whole number is 8, and the denominator is 6. So we're going to multiply those values. So we've got 6 times 8. The result of that is 48. And we'll put that right above our whole number. Now we can go to step 2, which is to add this result with the numerator. And the numerator is the number 5. So when we add 48 plus 5, that equals 53. And finally, step 3 is to keep the denominator exactly the same. Remember, our denominator is the number 6. So we'll put a 6 under 53. And that gives us our final answer, 53/6. And specifically, we could say the mixed number 8 and 5/6 is equal to the improper fraction 53/6. So here's your pause and practice. Just pause and practice. Hit the pause button and try these 6 questions. Once you're done, hit the play button to see if you're correct. Ready, set, go. So let's take a look at our answers. Number 1 is 64 over 7. Number 2 is 73 over 10. Number 3 is 85 over 8. Number 4 is 29 over 6. Number 5 is 34 over 9. And number 6 is 23 over 2. So how did you do, Math Aces? If you got everything right, I want you to put Pause and Practice Pro in the comments. And if you made any mistakes at all, don't worry about it, but be sure to share this with a friend. So what did we learn today? Mixed numbers represent values that are greater than 1. The 2 parts of a mixed number are the whole number and the fraction. To convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction, there are blank steps. That would be 3 steps. The 3 steps to convert from a mixed number to an improper fraction are 1. Multiply the whole number and the denominator. 2. Add the result and the numerator. And step 3. Keep the denominator the same. Alright, Math Aces, that's everything that you're going to need to know about how to convert from mixed numbers to improper fractions. I hope it helped, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'd love to help. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in math class.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Questions? Comments? Leave them down below.
And thanks for using Mr. Ace Math. Don't just pass math, ace it.